Welcome back to the Packers Corner. The Bears got it done. Schmitty, were you celebrating or crying over there at Lambeau Field?
Griffey, it was inexplainable how someone would be in prevent defense with 15 seconds left. I'm watching the game with the number one fan of Packers Corner, Derek Crumrine, and I'm looking at him and I said, I was like, Derek, why are they in prevent defense? Sure enough, 20 yards slant up the middle, uncontested. Game over. This cannot be how we end the season. We can't lose to the Bears.
Well, Schmitty, it is. That's how we ended the regular season, at least. We're going to break it down in detail here, get into a little Vikings preview for the postseason. I know we had a lot of Viking fans joining the show last week, and maybe they can commiserate with us here this week. We'll look forward to it all on the other side of the break.
Winning isn't everything, but it's the only thing. In our business, there is no second place. Either you're first or you're last.
It was named after Vince Lombardi. You play in Green Bay. As important as it is to any other team, it means more to us.
When he walked into the meeting, he looked us right in the eye. He said, "Gentlemen, we're going to relentlessly chase perfection."
My first thought was, on any play with my arm strength, I may not let anybody know this, but my first thought was home run.
On every play.
On every play.
He did what? Fires into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! No!
Schmitty, we had dreams of Lombardi's in our minds, envisioning that before the season, trips to Bourbon Street. We were popping champagne a couple short months ago, looking forwards towards all that. And now, with this sour taste in our mouth, we lose to the Chicago Bears. Pretty frustrating one. I know you picked the Bears, Schmitty and Dad. I know you were on my side thinking we were going to get it done. But, Schmitty, what was it like? What was the atmosphere in Lambeau Field as that one wrapped up and it didn't go the way we were hoping?
Griffey, I've been to many Bears-Packers games at Lambeau, even been to Soldier Field for one, and it's always a great atmosphere. Chicago Bears they become the lovable losers, so it's always a ha-ha. You know, they come up here and to Green Bay and have their fun, bring their Chicago hot dogs and beefs, and it's just a good time. We were 9-point favorites, had no business being down in that game at any point. And then you see Jordan Love go down early with an elbow. He almost threw a pick before that. The punt return touchdown before you. I'm just questioning a whole bunch of things for this team. Really, when we're so excited, you alluded to that we were. This was going to be a really good season for the green and gold. The wide receiver room was a strength, at least I thought. And now after watching this game, it just confirms the 180 that I believe that receiver room, regardless of Christian Watson's status throughout this entire season, I don't believe I wasn't expecting much of him because he never could stay healthy. And unfortunately, he had to go down the way he did. But now you're even questioning Jayden Reed's ability. Romeo Doubs, I know he was sick, but how is it that we're only able to get Jayden Reed the ball behind the line of scrimmage these days? I don't get it, but then I remember that he's had more than one game this season where he wasn't utilized at all. And then all this indecision by Matt LaFleur, how he doesn't have someone on staff to keep him in check at all times because the guy just doesn't have it. There was no reason for that timeout before McManus's field goal. He doesn't know his personnel well enough, I suppose. What are we doing? What are we doing? This was the game that we had to win by a touchdown going into Philly this week, and now we let the Bears beat us for the first time in God knows how long. The only thing I would say is that it didn't matter ultimately with the Cowboys losing to Washington, but it was a close game throughout. And you didn't really play Josh Jacobs, which was the right decision to make. That's the only kudos I'll give Matt. Other than that, this was a pretty poor performance all around. Even with Malik Willis not having a full week's work of first reps, we should still have came out with the W against the Chicago Bears.
Dad, I took every opportunity I could this year to talk trash against Caleb Williams, and when it mattered most, and the last drive of the year, the maybe not quite the equivalent, but close to it, the Super Bowl for the Bears this year was to beat the Packers here. When it mattered most, he got it done on that last drive. Do I deserve some of the blame for all the trash I talked this year?
Well, you're talking to a guy who's seen probably 55 years of Packer Bears football, and I feel like I've seen it all. And I also feel like there's a karma when you smack talk too much, and I think a lot of the Packer fans have been doing that for a number of years. I remember Jim Miller, a third-string quarterback, coming out of nowhere to beat us when they had no business. I remember that fake punt in 2011. That was the exact same play they burned us on here. We can get into the inexplicable nature of our coaching decisions. We're being managed by Larry, Curly, and Mo. I'm not sure who's who, but it is absolutely beyond explanation what's going on at 1265 Lombardi. I mean, it is so woefully pitiful. The game is just a metaphor for the ineptitude. I mean, you get both quarterbacks hurt. You get Christian Watson an ACL. Are you kidding me? I got tears in my eye, a lump in my throat, a crick in my knee for the poor guy. And everything just goes bad. And it's a little bit like the Vikings this week. Look what happens. Imagine you play a defense and you try to play pressure and aggressively. Excuse me, Jeff Hafley. You took a guy's place because he played passive and laid back. You would be wise to be aware of what your predecessor did, because you're falling into the same trap, and you are probably the least egregious of the errors on the team between the special teams coach and the head coach. And I don't know, Schmitty, I'm like you. I don't know if I can do this anymore. LaFleur deserves some leeway. He's done a great job in a number of areas, but he's just been piss poor pitiful this year. Stretch doesn't like it when I use that terminology, but that's what it is. I got to call it the way it is. It's been gosh awful. And I don't know. They think they're going to turn this thing around. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, going back to that play you alluded to, Schmitty, and we see it on the highlight here. We called the timeout. First of all, 3rd and 2 with the chance to go win the game. A first down is going to give us a chance to kick the ball with no time on the clock. And we go ultra conservative. We're running the ball straight up the middle. We get stopped. We immediately call timeout. We decide not to go for it on 4th and 4. And then we leave the Bears with enough time to have Cairo Santos go down at the other end, and he gets to do the Lambeau leap to finish off our regular season here. I mean, that's borderline a fireable offense in and of itself. If this is Michigan, Ohio State, Ryan Day is out of there if he makes a mistake that egregious against the Wolverines. And in the NFL, with Matt LaFleur's pedigree and the amount of wins he's hit, he's obviously not on the hot seat. But it doesn't get any worse than the way we manage that situation. We've said something similar before this year. We looked at Eberflus and the way he managed the game that ended up getting him canned ultimately. But what the heck happened there at the end?
Griffey, how is it, to your point, any coach on a hot seat right now after a performance like that the Matt just rolled out there, they'd be gone. They would be gone without question. Now, Matt has a lot of goodwill built up because he's one of the most winningest coaches over his tenure. So it's how we've gotten to this point where he was praised as not only a very sexy human being with all the females loving him before he even stepped into Green Bay, Wisconsin. The guy, I thought he was the sexiest man alive, Griffey. He was a really smart guy, came off really well. And all the Lambeau pressers, everyone's asking him great questions. He's a really smart, level-headed guy. And now this is the season where it's just like, dude, how have you made decision after decision that has left us all in awe of just how spectacularly stupid you can be in such big moments. And so we talked last week about Jordan Love, and is he the one that's making these bad decisions, or is it in fact MLF that's putting him in these situations? And I'm now leaning towards it's MLF, really just blunder after blunder. So it's really tough to think that we have a chance come this weekend with Matt's performance, if it continues this way. And Griffey, I'll say it right now: if Rick Bisaccia isn't fired come this season, we don't replace him. I'm kind of fed up with that whole operation. Granted, Brandon McManus is having one of the better seasons. I think he has the second best field goal percentage to end the regular season for all kickers. But you can't give up that touchdown. And there's other things that almost block punt. The block punt that cost us against the Niners in the playoffs, although it's not Bisaccia, but the special teams needs to be a crucial part to us being successful. We're the youngest team in the league, sure. But that doesn't matter. No one really cares outside of us and the people that bring it up. You need to perform regardless of your age, and our age might be showing with the inexperience that we have. But no one's going to feel sorry for us.
Well, I think if you created a checklist of things, well, as a Packer fan for a heck of a long time, Dad, you said 55 years of watching Packers Bears. It seemed like we'd seen this movie before. This is the formula for how the Bears win. But if you had a checklist to encompass some of those things, I think you'd have a special teams touchdown. You'd have a botched snap on a punt. You'd have MLF mismanaging the clock. You'd have a fluke injury or two. And all it took is one of those things not to happen. Unfortunately, we got the full strike there. We checked off all the boxes and we lose the football game. But under our control, which of those are controllable? It's the way we manage the clock at the end of the game. So that really is driving me crazy here.
Yeah, no doubt. And you forgot the Jaden Reed punch-out fumble, which is becoming a recurring theme. Every game, one of our top performing players manages to put the ball on the field. And, last year, Tucker Kraft got it punched out. A month ago, Christian Watson fumbled on the opening drive. What was it, last week at Minnesota? Jacobs puts a ball. I mean, none of this is getting fixed, Schmitty. And you ask a coach to be a leader. You ask a coach to be able to make decisions when the live bullets are flying. You ask a coach to begin to establish an identity for the team and that the team can rally around. And this team is beginning to take on the identity of its coach. Incompetent, underachieving, poorly disciplined, penalties, repeating the same mistakes over and over, drops, fumbles, penalties, poor strategic play, poor clock management, and here we are. We sound pretty down, and I guess we are, because this has been repeating itself over and over. I can't believe we're an 11-6 team that has underachieved to the extent that we have, and maybe the most disappointing one, Griffin Schmitty, is he has not elevated Jordan Love. Jordan Love is regressing. He's not scheming it up. He's not imbuing him with confidence. He's not giving him those throws. We're not seeing that ball fly out of his hand. So all I know for sure is LaFleur's put him himself in a position where expectations are very low. And he should be in a great position to exceed expectations. Maybe that's where he's trying to be sly like a fox. I don't know. It's hard to believe that he's this bad because he has had a record of being pretty good, except, as we've reviewed, many times in big situations, he has made poor decisions. That's becoming a theme. And Schmitty, I think you hit it on the head. He needs, what does he make? $6, $7, $8 million a year? Good Lord, pay somebody $500,000 to follow you around and be in charge of strategic decisions, because he's not a good field general when the live bullets are flying. He looks like a deer in the headlights at times. Can you believe calling that timeout with 40 seconds on the play clock? Griff, he should have called the timeout on 3rd and 2. What do you think Dan Campbell would have done? He'd have come up with something on 3rd and 2 to get a first down and end the flipping game with his offense. You've said that before. The NFL is designed for offense to have the advantage. Matt LaFleur, you need to end the game with your offense. When has Jeff Hafley preserved a game for us this year, Smitty? The answer is none, including twice to the Bears. Twice he let the Bears march down the field. The only reason we didn't lose the first one is because we got a lucky field goal. So you guys better take over before I need blood pressure medication.
Well, we were going against an offense that they couldn't throw the ball in front of the line of scrimmage. Caleb Williams only threw the ball behind the line of scrimmage all day, and then we let him get it done when it matters most. There's just so much to be frustrated about on this game. They say it's never as good as you think on tape, and it's never as bad as you think. This was as bad as you thought. This was sickening. And to your point about Jordan Love regressing, going back and watching that first Philadelphia Eagles game here. The kid's cutting it loose. He looks like a different guy. He kind of became a shell of himself. I don't know if it's interceptions and it's an overcorrection. I don't know if he just doesn't have confidence given the injuries he's suffered. But he looked like a different. In a loss, it wasn't exactly a flawless performance. But he just looked like that gunslinger that we saw at the second half of last year coming out of the gates in Brazil. So hopefully we can see that come back when we play the Eagles this week.
Here,
jump in here.
You saw Malik Willis make 2 or 3 high-caliber throws, one to Tucker Kraft, kind of a back shoulder, tightly guarded, squeeze it into a tight window, one under pressure, giving Malik Heath a chance to make a play. We haven't seen a play like that from Jordan Love for a month. It's like he's overprocessed. I don't know, but the coach has got to unlock that. You got to get that guy.
And we know it's in there. We've seen the highlight reel is unreal. The ceiling for Jordan is unreal. And you're right. We haven't seen that in quite some time here. I want to talk a little bit. We're going to jump into some postseason stuff here, too, looking back at the regular season, I should say, some of our predictions and just a recap of things that way. But before we do that, I do want to touch base on that Lions-Vikings game. I felt after the Vikings game and they played us so well, I thought this team's going to be the 1 seed in the NFC. And wow, the Lions came out and smacked them. What was your reaction to that one, Schmitty?
And hello to all the new Purple Faithful that have joined Packers Corner, the subscribers. It was great to see you in the comments this past week over.
They were loving you, Schmitty, weren't they? We got to touch on. We passed the 500 subscriber mark, which was something we were shooting for. That was awesome, and they were really loving you. The cut of your jib, as you like to say, Schmitty.
Hey, take your shirts off when you're enjoying this Packers Corner. You're friends amongst here, okay? I love you. You can love on me. Let's dice it up in the comment section here on out. I love to hear from not only Packers fans, but even our most formidable rivals.
Did you get any toastercorner@gmail.com emails to respond to?
I got a hey, I got a sup. I said I got a hey, big boy, put your shirt back on. That's it. But I'm ready for some more dialogue. I appreciate the comments, even those that are trying to censor me and make me put a shirt on. Just know that it'll never happen in your wildest dreams. You're gonna see this bare beauty before you for the rest of your time here on planet Earth. Griffey, how is it that Sam Darnold, for the same reasons that we're just a little worked up about Jordan Love and his performance lately, Sam Darnold all the way up until this week really had looked really good, and he was just flat out missing wide receivers on Sunday night, and so people are the Purple Faithful thinking that the lights are too bright for him. I don't want to subscribe to that just yet. I'd like to think that you complete even half of those balls, that game is much different. The fact that Jahmyr Gibbs just ran all over them, and then also Jared Goff. It's going to be hard for me if the Lions are in the Super Bowl to pick anyone from the AFC if they're going up against the Lions, simply because Jared has looked that good and that dependable. I think he has a completion percentage well over 70%. How can you not be impressed with what the Lions did? They got after Sam Darnold, Griffey. That defensive line, they're missing Aiden Hutchinson. They're missing McNeil. and they still found a way to give Sam Darnold a whole bunch of problems. So a great performance by them. And now you're seeing that in the line, because the Vikings are barely favorites coming into Monday night for their first playoff game.
Dad, you said the Vikings would be mad not to sign the man, Sam Darnold. Now after he pulls the rug on him like that, those guys got to be having whiplash. I don't know what to feel about it, a long-term quarterback situation if you're a Viking fan. What's your update on that a week removed from saying you got to sign the man?
Well, look at his stats for the whole year. There's an off week. I think that's more about Aaron Glenn. I just marvel at the guy, and it's about Dan Campbell. Now there's an outfit that has taken on the personality of his coach, and it's an amazing, incredible thing. I was dissing Dan Campbell and his decision-making earlier in the year. I think we all remember that. I've come around 180. I marvel at the guy. He says, boys, this is what we do. We're aggressive. We go for it on fourth down. If you don't like it, get on the bus. We'll get somebody in here who gets it. We're going to execute. We're going to do this at a highly competent level. We're going to do it aggressively. And for crying out loud, even when it doesn't make any sense to do it, at 24-9, to make it a 3-possession game, to kick the field goal with 4th and 4 down there inside the 10-yard line, he lines up with no intention of running the play and gives them the okey doke on the snap count and gets the first down because he's so aggressive and he's got the defense ticked off and he's just playing chess when the other boys are playing chess.
You know what's effective when the hard count is effective, Dad, is when you go for it all the time and they are ready to run after you because they know they have to make a stand. Not when you come out and you run these BS motions and you call timeout like we do every single week and they know not to be prepared. Now, it actually kind of worked for us in the opposite direction against the Vikings. We had one of those situations where we did indeed snap the ball and we got the first down. But I think the mentality there, you're exactly right. That's what got him a first down in that situation.
And he has told his defensive coordinator we're going to play aggressive, and look what they did in that game. I tell you what happened, Schmitty. I watched the whole San Francisco-Detroit game the week before, and I marveled at the way they came back. But they played back in a soft zone, and Brock Purdy carved them up. They had to win with an offensive shootout, 40-34. And he went to Aaron Glenn and he said, we are not sitting back against Jefferson. They may beat us, and they may beat us over the top, but they're going to beat us with us playing aggressive. We're going to put pressure on the quarterback. We're going to blitz the vast majority of the times. And it was the antithesis of what our coordinator, Jeff Hafley, who's beginning to aggravate me. We need not play this soft defense and play these games with, we're going to act like we're bringing 8 guys and we're going to back up and bring 3 and line up 3 guys on the goal line and give them the whole field because we're nervous that they might throw the ball over the top. It's just like LaFleur Griff on fourth down. Half the time we just have a dummy count and don't even go for it. That high school nonsense. Nobody's being fooled by that. So there's no aggressiveness. There's no confidence being imbued. And Dan Campbell, I'm starting to love the guy. I think the Viking fans and us are kindred souls. We've been okey-doked by Dan Campbell, and he has got it all going on right now. And our coaches in Green Bay only wish they could carry Dan Campbell's jockstrap.
Well, in talking about exhibiting the character of your coach, Alex Anzalone coming back with the plate in his arm and running around with his hair on fire. What a performance from that guy too. That was fun to see. He looked, we were excited about the performance we had from our guy at linebacker, Edgerrin Cooper, but holy smokes, Alex Anzalone looked really good. He's going to be a problem in the playoffs here. And isn't there a chance Aiden Hutchinson comes back in February if those guys make it that long? That would be quite a story, too, for those guys. I want to take a look back at some of our bold predictions. Let's start with the one we were just talking about, Dad. Your prediction for the Vikings quarterback was Nick Mullins to start by October 15th on the year. That one did not come to pass.
Now, just a second. I have a proviso here. I want the record to show that in 2 games in mid-October, Sam Darnold went off the field for one play with a tweaked ankle, and Nick Mullins came on. And in both instances, he immediately completed clutch passes for big first downs, and Sam Darnold was so doggone nervous that he was going to lose his job that he damn well got his wounded rear end out on that field because he wanted no part of Nick Mullen running that offense. And right now, I still don't want to see Nick Mullen. So you can say whatever you want, but I don't think Nick Mullen.
How about Daniel Jones?
Yeah, bring him on, please.
Well, hey, I'm going to criticize you for the Darnold pick. We all have a couple that didn't turn out so well. But I'll give you a little reward on being the regular season champion on the picks we've done throughout the year. I was neck and neck with you. I had a little bit of an asterisk over one Jaden Daniels game against the Bears. I thought I might nip you at the end, and no. The man persevered, so congratulations to you on that for the regular season. We'll see what the tally looks like with maybe a couple postseason games for the Pack, hopefully. But well done to you on that one. Schmitty, got to give you your flowers. 9 games for Jair this season, and it's his last year with the Packers. That was a spicy one. I don't know if the second half of that's going to come to pass, but I don't know what the final count was for Jair, but the spirit of your analysis there was spot on. What led you to come up with that one?
It's become a problem in the locker room. The talent has not outweighed the other nonsense that's going on. Now, the injury bug, you never can count on it being an issue or not. We just know from previous that he has gone out. That tackle against the Steelers 2 seasons ago, I believe now, when he broke his collarbone. Since then, I mean, he's just been in and out of the medical center. So it's just one of those things that you didn't want to believe. You wanted a little spice, Griffey. I gave you a spice, and it's not even something that I really wanted to enjoy. And it's here before us, and we're sad because of it.
Well, and 7 ended up being the final count there for Jair in games played, so that was too bad. You also predicted 10 touchdowns, over 10 touchdowns for Romeo Doubs. He made it to 4. And we had Enigbare to be second in sacks after Gary for the season. And that wasn't too bad. That was pretty close. Devontae Wyatt edged him out at 5 sacks. Kingsley came in there with 4.5, and Rashawn Gary was 7.5. But that's a pretty good prediction. I like that one. Too. Now you did have the Bears going 13-4, so we had our ups and downs there. Dad, you also had Marshawn Lloyd more total yards than Josh Jacobs was a bold prediction, which is a fun one to look back at. And we were right at the tops in the NFL in takeaways. You had top 10 projected for us. I'll have to check on where we finished out on that one. I don't have that one in front of me, but I would think we made top 10 because we were with Xavier McKinney's start. We had a strong lead right out of the gates there. I had one that I feel like it might have come to pass if the poor guy could have stayed healthy. Christian Watson for 1,000 yards. That could have been possible with a healthy Jordan Love and Christian himself staying healthy, but that was an X. That one didn't make it after what we saw come to pass. I had bold prediction. This is crazy. This sounded spicy at the beginning of the year. I said Sam Darnold will absolutely be serviceable, and that was an under projection. And then I said, for sure, the Bears are going to rue the day that they took Caleb Williams ahead of Jaden Daniels. And my final bold prediction was that your champagne popping was not going to be misplaced and that the Packers would win the Super Bowl this year. We'll see how that one comes out here. We are going to jump into some predictions for the postseason. We got to talk a little Philadelphia Eagles. Schmitty, we, of course, lost in Brazil to these guys to start the year in kind of a funky game. But we gave them everything they could handle. Jordan Love, of course, got the injury, the scary knee. We thought Jordan Love might be done for the year, the way that knee looked. And so that was a roller coaster of emotions. And now it all comes back and we get another shot at these guys. What do you think about our chances heading into Philly? And break down that matchup for us, if you would.
Griffey, the fake game in the fake country, that the imaginary game that we played that has no bearing. The game opened at 3.5, favoring the Eagles. It bounced up to 5.5 very quickly. It's kind of settled now at the 4.5 point range. the Packers are going to have their hands full, especially with what we've seen now in the last 2 months of ball. That we really haven't given it that all three-phase attack that Gar so loves. So I'm questioning our ability to stop a Saquon Barkley, who has achieved over 2,000 yards, A.J. Brown, and now the fact that we do not have Jair to look forward to in this postseason run, it's going to be even tougher because not only do they have A.J. Brown, they also have Devontae Smith. One thing to call out, Griffey, Jaylen Herz is still in concussion protocol. And so now whether that's the Eagles kind of playing close to the chest and they can keep designating him as a protocol for concussions, does that mean he can play or practice? I'm not sure exactly how that works. I would assume that he's not able to go be a full go in practice. So with that,
my 2 cents on that one is that is as fake as can be. The Eagles haven't had a full practice opportunity yet. They will tomorrow, and so it's not even possible for him to have cleared the protocol for this week. And last, but he wasn't going to play against the Giants. So I think it's a little bit, maybe not gamesmanship, but it's just the way the protocol works. I would absolutely be shocked if Jaylen Herz isn't out there against us. I wouldn't even get our hopes up that way, is my opinion.
Now, if we recall how last season went, the last 2 months where you had Jordan Love just absolutely on fire, and they were the team that no one really wanted to play, and that was evident, especially after the Cowboys demolishing. And even so in the Niners, with the exception of that pick at the end of the game, this season isn't like that. I think we can all safely say that we really haven't had the momentum going into this postseason like we did last year. People weren't necessarily expecting us last season; they were this year, and the expectations I don't think we've met them per se. Now we've played a lot of tough games against NFC opponents, and the Vikes, the Lions, and the Eagles being one of the teams that beat us this season. I'm really a toss-up, Griffey, as to how this game is going to play out. I really think, and I ask for it a lot, is who wins the turnover battle, and that usually is the decider of who I think wins a football game. And so Jordan hasn't turned the ball over much, but we called it out earlier. The fumbles have just been an absolute problem. Thankfully, Josh Jacobs, he only got about a quarter's worth of reps. And so you expect a heavy dose of Josh Jacobs. I want Josh Jacobs to touch the ball 20 times. And I think he has the ability to break off a 100-plus yard game. We got the dogs in front in the offensive line. Shout out Zach Tom, who likely will be get an all-pro nod and get a nice contract this offseason. We got dogs in front of us for Josh Jacobs to run free. And so I think this is a game of the trenches. And so with that, Griffey, for a team like us that doesn't necessarily have the beast on the outside catching footballs, we're certainly outgunned there. I think this is a game between the tackles, running the ball, offense and defensive line battles. And guess what, Griffey? We win that battle. We are going to win that battle on Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock, 3:20 Central Standard Time. I just got to see Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur dial up something. I'm just so hopeful. It's going to kill me if we have the same sort of flat performance to start the game and then have blunders all over the field as far as special teams. I swear, Griffey, if a block punt happens and that's the way we're going to go out this season, I'm going to tear my hair out. It's going to be triple toaster time. I will not be able to carry on if we lose a game like that come Sunday. So Packers win, and they do it on the back of Josh Jacobs, and I'm looking forward to it, and I hope the Packers faithful is too.
Dad, what are your sentiments for this matchup?
Oh boy, I don't know. I might still be suffering from the shock and grief of the loss to the Bears. I don't know if I'm thinking straight. Okay, here's what I know for sure. We got a kicker. Okay, I don't think they can goof that up. We got a pretty good punter, and we got a guy named Josh Jacobs. Now I'm led to have to believe that all of a sudden Matt LaFleur is going to unlock the funk that Jordan Love has been in for the better part of the season. Okay? I'm led to believe that Matt LaFleur is going to manage the clock and the replay penalties correctly. Crickets. I have to suspend my logical cognitive faculties to believe that all of a sudden Jeff Hafley's not going to play soft in clutch situations instead of sending 5 and 6 guys in their lanes to contain Jaylen Herz. Let's see, how many times has he gotten a stop to win? Crickets. I'm led to believe that our special teams coach is going to have our players that when the punter tells them I'm kicking it to the left, not to run to the frickin' right side of the field. When that's a play the Bears have on tape that should have been shown in the special teams meetings. I'm feeling like Schmitty. I'm swirling. My ears are hurting. I'm starting to go down to the fishies. And I need my mommy, your Nana, to give me a hug. I can't pick the Packers in this game. I've seen it for too long. This is tough love. Matt LaFleur, you are on full blast. If you don't pull your head out of your rear end, somebody's going to have to come over there and kick you in the rear end. And I'm telling you right now that if you frick up this game like you've done most of the rest of this season in clutch situations, I'm Ben Johnson all the way. Get rid of this Frenchman and get the guy from Detroit on the hotline, post haste, Mark Murphy as your last act to save the franchise. Hopefully, I'm going to eat all these words, but Matt LaFleur, this is what I call tough love. It is time. You've been coddled. You've been babied. You've been pampered. We've believed in you. Now get the damn job done. I've had it.
Mike McCarthy might be available. No takers on that one. All right. Well, Dad, I think my feeling for this game is partially right what you hit on there. If you were to look at all the quantifiable integers, all of the objective data that we have on hand, especially after the Packers' performance last week, I don't think you can come up with a single thing that would tell you, that would point in the direction that the Packers are going to win this football game. What the Packers have is potential, which is just simply unrealized performance. They haven't lived up to that potential with the exception of that Dallas Cowboys game in the playoffs a year ago. This is a team a year ago was losing to the lowly Panthers, and we did it again then this year, losing against, we didn't lose. We pulled that one out against the Panthers, but, it did lose to Tommy DeVito. And we did again. We lost to Caleb Williams down the stretch here. So I can't point to anything that would tell us we're going to win. All I can do, this is my best effort that I can give for the boys, is I'm going to channel my inner Terry Bradshaw. You can call me the blonde bomber. Is I can pick against the Packers. I can zigzag them. And if you recall, back in 2010 when the Packers went the distance, we had Terry Bradshaw pick against us each and every step of the way. And so I'm off the bandwagon. I'm picking against the Packers each and every game they have. But maybe, just maybe, that'll be enough to get it done. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. We've got one more game to break down real quick, guys. Want to get your thoughts on the Vikings matchup against the Rams for record purposes. Dad, who do you have? Vikings, Rams?
I got Vikings. Sam Darnold's going to bounce back. He's too good a player. KOC's going to bounce back and get it schemed up. And so and there are going to be a lot of Viking fans in the stadium out there because that's what Californians do. They don't show up. So I'm going purple.
Schmitty?
Yeah, Griffey. We thought the world was ending after losing to the Bears on Sunday. Talked to a lot of the Vikings faithful, and they certainly think that there's a huge problem and that their chances of a Super Bowl are never going to happen. They're going to get off to a good start. They're going to beat the Rams, and I think they beat them pretty handily. I think they beat them by 10 points, and we're back onto the bandwagon of the Vikings being able to take this thing all the way to the distance.
We got a clean sweep for the Vikings. Shout out to all our Viking fans, man. Our Viking subscriber count is going to continue to go through the roof there if we keep picking these guys. But
maybe
that's what I think is going to happen.
Will be Vikings corner. We'll just keep the podcast going.
If we keep it going, yeah.
Purple corner. I mean, purple pride, purple rain, purple corner. Whatever it takes, Purple Crush.
You said Dan Campbell's won you over, Dad, and he's won over my respect. But boy, I've kind of gotten sick of watching the Lions win. It's starting to rub me the wrong way. So I might even be convinced to cheer that way. Dare I say it? If we had another rematch of Vikings Lions. But gentlemen, let me give you one more chance. Final words. Hopefully not the final episode. But what do you have for the Packers faithful, Schmitty?
Griffey and Packers faithful all around the world. It is time. It is time to rise up for your team. You never can get enough of these opportunities. You never know how the ball is going to bounce, and sometimes it bounces your way, and you need that. You need some good fortune. And so if you think for 1 second to doubt the Green Bay Packers and the organization that has done wondrous things. There could be plenty of other franchises that you could have been a lifetime fan of, and they would have led you astray. The Packers aren't one of those organizations, and so they have the capability to go down into a despicable place like Philadelphia, and come out with a victory. And so I think it's going to happen. I hope you do. I can't wait. I might go and hang out with Nana, rubber feet, and listen to some oldies after they win this game. And so go Pack. Love you all.
Dad, what kind of cheese you have for us this week?
In the immortal words of Winston Churchill, I have nothing to offer you but blood, sweat, toil, and tears, and ricotta cheese. Isn't that what we use on lasagna? A little ricotta cheese in there in between the noodles, Schmitty? Oh,
yes,
that
sir.
gives me a warm feeling. So much better of a warm feeling than anything I've had from the Packers, but I will be rooting them on. I'll be right there cheering my heart out. I'll be pulling for them. Matt LaFleur, will you make me eat my words and eat my hat? And maybe I'll have to be like Schmitty, and at 65 years old, this lily white Norwegian body, get a tattoo. A green and gold tattoo somewhere on the back of my neck or on my calf, like Coach Bielema for the Badgers. But anyway, it would be a beautiful thing. I hope I get to eat my words.
Griffey, one last thought.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nipple piercing. We're gonna pierce those nipples.
Not again. Not again.
And I'm gonna pierce these bad boys down in Bourbon Street. You've heard it here first, folks. If we go to Bourbon Street, tattoos and piercings, I can't wait. It's going to be electric.
You guys make me so uncomfortable. I thought we had gotten past this. Me and all the folks in the comments are squirming. But hopefully we're back for another week of it all next week to root on the Pack one more time. Gentlemen, have a good night. Thanks for joining me here.
Love you guys.